It's been a year. I think it's important to recognise that. If you would have told me all of this would have happened a year ago, I think I would have laughed it off. And yet, it happened. Last year, I said goodbye to my dad. We held his hand, and the machine went off, and he went peacefully. I was in a bit of a messy place. A mix of antidepressants and trying to keep my head afloat, when in reality I didn't have it. I didn't have much going on. I just got to get on with things, and that was that. I saw an advert for the King's Trust, and I thought, I've got nothing better going on. I might as well do that. And I don't think I knew at that moment how far this was all going to go. I ended up finding a wonderful collective of people, from Reform Radio to the Manchester DJs. I ended up becoming a member of the Twitch Creator Club for DJs. And in the long run, I met a few of them this year in person. I played at the King's Trust Awards with my mentor Emma, a moment to give back to the people that had found me. I've played countless open decks, pop-ups, and even in my hometown. I played my radio debut with Reform Radio this year, flew to TwitchCon, and met up with friends and had moments that were unforgettable. There was also moments where people came up to me and said hello, and that they enjoyed my stream, and that was quite surreal. I think in the grand scheme of things this year, it's been about healing, finding myself again, and I think I've done that. But equally, it's important to recognise that while I've been on this wild run, there's hiccups. Instagram's a funny place, and often we only recognise the glitz and the glam. And in another life this year, I would have played one of the biggest festivals globally. I remember sitting on my kitchen floor after getting the news that it had fallen through, and I was almost numb. In another life, I would have been at Amsterdam Dance Week, and that didn't work out either. Countless emails go on in the background, and sometimes we never really talk about that. And yet, when one door closes, there's always another one that opens. One Thursday, I'm sat in my room, and I get this call, and I get asked, what am I doing on Tuesday? I was out of work at the time, and I said I was doing nothing. The next thing that came out of their mouth was, cool, do you want to go down to St. James's Palace? His Royal Highness the King and Idris Elba will be there. I packed my suit, got to my hotel. The following morning, I'm on a tube to the event, and the formalities happen. And then I get handed the mic. I had this opportunity to talk about this last year, about everything. And in the grand scheme of things, this was probably the wildest thing that I've done. I got the train home, and the photos started popping up online. Then, the next day, I get a text from a friend of mum's saying my image was in the paper. It was surreal. I got involved with Twitch and played 808 Week, playing some of my favourite tracks for a week of shenanigans. But for as much as I'd given so much this year, I'm now having the opportunity to give back. I was invited to speak to a cohort of young adults who had just finished a course, and that meant a lot. Most DJs these days play their local village, the next town over, the local city, and then elsewhere. And in the grand scheme of things, I almost did it in reverse. And it meant so much more. I suppose that brings us back to where we are now. I've tried to take this year almost so much more seriously, and it meant so much. And I suppose we have what comes next. I have an interest in music production. A couple of festivals now want you to DJ, but they also want you to make your own music. It's going to take a while, but I'm still at a crossroads of wanting to go back to education or wanting to find a couple of mentors. There's some concepts floating around in the ether. Hopefully, I can talk about them sooner or later. I'm playing public DJ sets on average about once a month, and the goal is, for this coming year, to maybe double or triple that. Play a festival or two, become more consistent on Twitch, to push the partner by the end of next year, maybe even play TwitchCon. For real this time. Sorry, Twitch. Maybe learn to drive. Trying to lump around a Pioneer XZ without a car is a bit of a struggle. Eden once said, no futures, only ideas, and we've made it this far. And I think I often relate to that. He was right.